Hey Genderqueer Chat, Joe here. I'm using this camera that I don't use very often. Oh look, you can see the sun set a little bit. The pink sky and across the country field. Anyway, this week's topic was prompted by a letter written by a viewer, and it was really delightful. I think if you watched Ricky's videos yesterday, you saw. It's very, very, very nice and comforting for us, the contributors to this channel, to hear feedback from the viewers, especially to know that we've made a difference in their lives. This is humongous. And I know this channel made a huge difference in my life when I first started watching it, before I was a contributor. And it's, yeah, you feel like you found your tribe. Like you feel like you find people who understand you here. And even though we may not have the largest viewership or whatever, we don't really care, because even one viewer that we've touched makes it worthwhile, at least for me. I know that that's how I live my life, just generally speaking. I've always said that I live my life this way to live as a bold an inspiration to inspire others to live bold and authentic lives through my fearless example in writing. That is actually my mission statement. And if it's even one person, like one kid who thinks she doesn't have to shave her legs because it's not necessary, you know, or whatever I've done in my life to impact one little kid to understand that you can be authentic, you know, that's my life. I can die happy. So yeah, Johannes, or I think he put the name Joe, is the person who wrote in. And after a very interesting and beautiful letter, there was a question at the bottom. But first he had actually put a little quiz, which I believe on Jack's video you'll be able to link to that quiz. And it was stereotypical masculine traits and stereotypical feminine traits, and then I guess gender neutral traits, and you had to pick whether you felt strongly about these. So I'll just tell you quickly that I scored 82.5 out of 100 on masculine, 46.6 out of 100 on feminine, and 55.8 out of 100 on androgynous. So very steeply skewed towards the masculine. Which is funny, because those traits, if I recall correctly when I was reading them, were just, a lot of it just had to do with aggression. Not aggression, but just assuredness. As if women are not sure of themselves. Like it was, I don't know, that's how it kind of struck me. They're very stereotypical, just so you know. Like it's not a scientific test, but, you know, whatever you would consider traits that you would consider women to have and men to have, I guess I skew strong on the masculine side, which didn't surprise me, because I've always kind of known that about myself. I'm kind of stunned I scored as high as I did on the feminine, which was 46.6, just because I'm not particularly touchy-feely / you know, any of those things that you attribute to women. Okay, so the question was, and by the way, that is Eli that you see right there. He's on the mend. I can't believe he didn't die. I thought he was a goner. I really was. I thought he was a goner, but he's still alive, and I just take it a day at a time. He's on like a million new foods, and yeah. Hi, sweetie. Anyway, just in case you're curious, because I know some of you were worried about him when I said he was really, really sick in a previous video. Okay, so the question was, sorry about that. And I don't have very much time, because I only have like X number of megs left on this card. So, okay. What are the male, female, lesbian, gay, trans, whatever shades of your character? And how do you feel? Do they fit the gender concept that you have found for yourself? Well, male, female, lesbian, gay, trans shades can only be defined through social constructs, right? Like what the world defines as masculine and what the world defines as feminine, and more specifically what your culture defines as those things. Because as I said in a previous video, that was the one about Disney and Laura Gabriel had come up with the question. I think it was about your culture, the country that you live in. I really truly do believe that being Canadian allows me a freedom to express myself in a way that I think I honestly think American women or American female-bodied people wouldn't really get away with doing what I do or saying what I say. I think there's a greater gender expectation on American women. And I can only use these two countries as an example, Canada and the States, because I haven't really traveled internationally. But I just know up here, I know a lot of women like me. I know a lot of women, female-bodied people, who don't feel the need to really you know, abide by the gender binary to the same extreme that they do in other cultures. And I did say I thought it was weather related. Like, we don't really wear little skimpy outfits because it's cold outside. You know what I mean? It's not abnormal to dress kind of normally. I don't know what I consider to be normally. So the shades of my character, I guess, if female, lesbian, gay. What Joe left out on that question was lesbian, gay, trans shades. I guess hetero shades, right? I guess what colors my personality probably more than anything, and more historically than now, but the fact that I'd always been kind of boy crazy, the fact that I'd always had some crush on some guy, I was always involved with some guy, kind of defined me for a lot of years, I think. I grew up in a family that really, my mother really skewed us to with romantic notions, and that you're going to meet your Prince Charming someday. I don't think she used the term Prince Charming, but definitely your true love, your soulmate. She used to say things like this all the time. And I grew up with real notions about, I wouldn't say heterosexual partnerships, because I don't think my mother would have cared if it was hetero or homo, but definitely partnerships. Definitely skewed towards romantic notions and romantic partnerships. And that colored a huge chunk of my teens and 20s, and, you know, even when I was a kid, even in the single digits. I remember having a crush on a boy in kindergarten, you know, which just goes to show you are born this way. There's no two ways about it. So yeah, always obsessed with some boy. And luckily in the last 10 years, that's faded somewhat. I think as time goes on, the scale on the graphic goes up, because, you know, when I first became single, I was still boy obsessed. And I can think of 2 or 3 really big crushes I had in those early years. And now it's really started to fade. The gender concept, maybe it's because as I get older, well, I don't know, my sexuality and my gender and my sexual orientation had so little to do with one another. They really did, because I have always been attracted to men, always, and usually exceptionally so. You know, like this business of constantly having a crush or having notions. It's only recently that's really died down in my life. But I've always expressed my gender this way too. And those things had nothing to do with one another. And I don't think one impacted the other one too badly. Like, I never felt like I couldn't be this way, like I said, in order to snag a man. I know I've said that in previous videos, because I've always never had trouble finding boyfriends, looking the way I do and acting the way I do. And it's just a distinct crowd, I guess, I have to go for, right? It's a distinct kind of guy who's going to fall for a person like me. I think as I've gotten older and come into my own genderqueer identity more strongly, it's going to take an even more specific kind of guy to deal with this, because it's a political kind of statement on my part, it seems. And male, female, gay, trans, shades of my character. Yeah, the male shade of my character, if you want to call those stereotypical qualities, the male shades of my character really pack a punch, because I really do stand out totally away from the crowd. My sister and my mother are always making remarks about how different I am, or how easy it is for me to do things that they find very difficult to do, usually having to do with not being polite or not being nice. I'm a pretty gruff when I need to eliminate somebody out of my life, or, you know, tell somebody something, it comes easy to me. I think a lot of women who have been brainwashed to believe they should just play nice and be sweet, it comes a lot harder. Okay, I have to go deal with cat litter, because the air is filling up with an aroma around here. Good, great question, and thank you so much, Joe, for putting in the question, and I'll catch you guys next week. Bye-bye.